Hey guys, I am doing a repeat follow-up to the talk that I did on Sunday night because I want to post it on YouTube and it didn't save. I'm like not, I'm a little not so savvy with Instagram right now, but it didn't save. So I want to do the talk again, my follow-up talk, and I'm going to put links for all my book recommendations under my video on YouTube. Okay, so you'll have book recommendations, which you guys have been asking me for, and I'm going to just do a follow-up to my original talk. So first of all, I want to say hi to all my new followers. I want to tell you a little bit who I am. I'm Rachel Tuckman. I'm a licensed mental health counselor in the 5 towns, and I work with kids and adults and women with infertility. I did this talk the other night on talking to your kids about sex and sexuality. I just have to say I'm like overwhelmed, shocked, confused a little bit even at like how it's blown up and how in a good way and how many people have like been impacted positively by this and the conversation that I've been having with so many of you. So I'm so grateful that this discussion is happening and that you guys are confident now, aware, encouraged, thinking. I love it. So I wanted to just follow up on a few points that came up after my original talk, which the link for that talk is in my bio and you can watch it on YouTube. But a few things just as a follow-up. So I got some questions. First, I wanted to just reiterate that when I spoke about pornography in my original talk, I want you to tell your child when you speak to them about pornography that they are to never be shown pornography. Like if an adult shows them pornographic images or videos, they should come and tell you right away. I did not mention that in my talk, so please tell them that. And that you remind them that sex is between 2 consenting adults only. Never with a child. A child and an adult should not be having sex, and you have to let them know this. I wanted to address showing affection. I got a lot of questions about that. Like, is it okay to show affection in front of your children? And the answer is yes, it's healthy. You need to show affection in front of them. They need to see what a healthy marriage is. They need to see showing love in a physical way. That's important. It's important that not just that we say, I love you, but that we hug and kiss the people that we love, that we show our children that we care about our spouse and that they know it, right? That they know that their parents love and care about each other. And it sets a good example for them to learn to be affectionate. And I've heard from so many people, my spouse doesn't hug me, my spouse doesn't kiss me, he never shows me that he loves me, he doesn't, do nice, rub my back or hold my hand. You want to create this idea for your child that like affection is a good thing. It's a way to forge a bond and show closeness, because physical touch is a love language and it's so important, and it's a way to connect and create kinship and help love grow. And just like you hug and kiss your children and you want them to know that that physical affection is important, that they should do for their own children, it should be done in a marriage also. So hug and kiss in front of them. People keep asking like how much affection. Like clearly you're not ripping your clothes off in front of your kids, and like you're not like shoving tongues down each other's throats. Like I feel like keep it family friendly. Hugs and kisses could be telling me that I'm not connected. Long hugs are fine, but like clean, nice affection. Just like you hug and kiss them, you rub their backs, you do those kinds of things, and saying nice things to each other. So that's important. The next thing I wanted to address was a lot of people were saying like, my kid is 16, I didn't talk to him about it, I didn't talk to my daughter, is it too late? It's never too late to do the right thing. You can talk to your kids, and the way I would approach the conversation is to just say like, I should have done this a while ago. I don't know what you know already, but I wanted to have this conversation with you, and ask them what they've heard. Have you heard anything about like what you're going through with your body? Have you heard anything about sex? What do you know? And let them tell you. And they might be embarrassed, so they might be like, I don't know anything. That doesn't mean they don't know anything. It means they feel uncomfortable to talk to you. So you want to make sure that, if they say they don't know anything, say, okay, that's okay. And you then just talk with them, right? So you can ask them what they know and then have the conversation from there. And it's a great example showing your kids it's never too late to do the right thing, and give them information and correct what they may have heard already. Give them the right information and take away whatever misconceptions they've learned. Okay, so that's what you want to do. It's never too late to do the right thing. I also want to talk about some of the questions that you might get. So a lot of parents message me that they finally had this conversation. Amazing, awesome. And they got some questions that they were like, I don't know what to do with that. But I want you to remember any questions they ask you, even if it throws you off, you could be like, oh, wow, you know, I didn't think that you would think of that. That's awesome that you're asking me. Take every question they ask you and thank them for asking you. Don't be like, well, why are you asking me that? No, you know what? Thanks for asking. Let me think about it. And if you don't know how to answer, say, let me get back to you, and then get back to them. But answer them honestly. So some of the questions that you might get, these are some of the questions that I got when I had the talk with my daughter. And that other people have told me. They might ask, like, does everybody do that? Like, everyone has sex? Like, is that happens? This is for the sex talk, just FYI. They might ask, like, when do you do that? How often do you do that? Do you do it when we're home? You know, does everybody do that? They might ask questions like that. So you answer them honestly. You don't have to tell them how frequently or when you have sex with your spouse, but you tell them it's private. You know, don't think every time the door is closed that's what daddy and I or mommy and I are doing. You're not awake when we do it. That just like helps them, you know, because like you don't want them to think every time they go into bed that something's going on, you know. You just say you're not awake. We're respectful that like we make sure that we will have privacy, just like you'll do when you're married. You just let them know that you're keeping it private, and you don't have to give them details. Like they don't need to know. And there's some questions that you could say, you know what, this is just like private between me and mom or me and dad, and like that you don't really need to know. But yes, everybody does it. Yes, mom sees me naked. Yes, dad sees me naked. Is it weird? No, you know. But then again, don't go into details of like your wedding night or whatever it is. Like the general information is amazing. And then the other thing I wanted to tell you was that like a lot of people were saying, why do my kids need to know about sex? Like I get telling them about puberty. Why do they need to know about sex? Like I don't understand. So I'm going to tell you again. I said this originally and I'm going to say it again. Forget the like sexual abuse factor. That's a huge one, right? If your kids don't know what sex is, they don't know if they're being sexually abused. It's not enough just to say someone shouldn't touch your private parts or someone shouldn't show you their private parts. You also need to let them know that this is what sex is and it's only for adults. So if someone ever does that to you, it's not okay, right? Nobody should put their private parts on you or in you. That's something that adults do only. That's sex, and that's something that's very sacred and special and only for, again, within your value system. I'm assuming a lot of you here are within the religious Jewish Orthodox religion here. You say that's only for married people. No one else. You don't do that with anyone else, right? So you have to tell them so that they know that it's not just, sexual abuse isn't just like someone touched my private parts or someone showed me their private parts. It's also being assaulted in a sexual way, you know, by forcing themselves on them or doing something sexually. So they need to know what sex is for safety. But then again, also take away that scary factor for their awareness. I work closely with medical professionals in the fertility world. I work with medical professionals in the fertility world, and they've told me that they have had couples come to them who think that they're infertile, and upon further discussion, they realize that these couples are having sex in the wrong way. So they're putting things in the wrong holes. And then they're wondering, why is sex painful? Why is sex difficult? Why can't we get pregnant? Because they don't understand their basic biology. And to me, that's very scary. Okay, so we're causing our kids a lot of unnecessary anguish when we don't teach them about their bodies and we don't teach them about other bodies. So give your child a mirror when they're little and show them how their private parts look. Show your sons, show your daughters. This is where the pee comes out. This is where a baby would come out. This is where you poop from. Tell them the differences. As they get older, they can know these things. There's nothing bad about it. And if you feel nervous, it's not nice, it's not because of your religious views. Again, you are taking the societal view of nudity and sexuality and you're imposing that into your life. Like we, in Judaism, we don't believe that sexuality is bad. We don't suppress it. We sanctify it. We we believe that our bodies are God-made and they're good and they function in the way they do, and that's a miracle and it's a healthy thing and it's a good thing. We're not making it bad. So, and that sexuality is part of a healthy lifestyle. So you don't want to be giving that message of like, we shouldn't say penis, but I can say tush or tuches. Like you're putting your sexual values that are really like misconstrued onto your children, and you're teaching them that those words are bad, but they're not. And if you teach them from a very young age, eyes, ears, nose, tush or anus, and penis, vagina, elbows, it's not a big deal to them. It's just a part of who they are. And that's what we want to teach them. There's nothing shameful about the areas that are normally covered. They're private, but they're not shameful. So that's what you want to keep in mind. And then just one other point is kind of piggybacking on that is like the sense of false modesty that I keep hearing about in the messages that I'm getting. Like, we shouldn't be talking about that. That's not okay. It's not sneeze. It's not modest. Why does my child need to know about that? They're going to be thinking about these things. And I'm going to tell you that there's this like false modesty that I'm hearing a lot, you know, like that we think that we're more religious, more tznius than the Torah, than the Bible, than God's word. The Torah is full of stories about sex and sexuality, right? We learn about Lot and his daughters. We learn about David and Bathsheba. We learn about Yehuda and Tamar. We learn about Yaakov and Rachel. We learn about all the forefathers with their wives and having children. We learn in the Gemara about Rav and Tevi, right? That Tevi hid under Rav's bed while he was having sex with his wife so he could learn the proper way to have sex. Sorry, it's pausing. It's not such a great connection. Anyway, the Torah is filled with stories of sex and sexuality, and it's not a bad thing. It's not everyday talk, right? But it's something that we discuss because we recognize it's a basic human need and it's a basic human function, right? Your kids are learning in Mishnayos about Tashmish Hamita and Bia Shelo Kedarka. They're going to learn these things, your boys, and they're going to wonder what that is. Do you want them to go look it up somewhere else, or do you want them to come home and ask you? And that's really my main point also. The reason you're having this discussion, not just education, not just prevention, it's amazing, but also you're building a relationship with your child. If you can talk to them about these taboo, private, sensitive subjects, they will always feel comfortable to come and speak to you about anything and everything. Anything that's scary or confusing, they know that they can come to you because you've given them this information, and maybe it was a little awkward, but you were honest with them and you were open with them, and you gave them true, non-judgmental information, so they know the next time their friends are talking about something, or the next time they read something, or the next time they see something, that they can come to you and say like, whoa, I don't know, this was scary for me, help me. And that you're not going to yell at them or tell them, that's bad, we don't talk about that here, or God's going to be upset at you. You make it a positive thing, and you say, okay, no problem. Okay, you looked something up and a picture came up and you know it wasn't appropriate, and maybe you even clicked a couple times. That's okay. Let's talk about why it's not okay and not good for you to see pornography. It happens. It's normal. Okay, yeah, you woke up and you feel like you peed in your bed and you don't know what's going on. Let's talk about what happens to your body when it's changing. Your friends were talking about sex, and you heard your friends say that sex is when a daddy pees inside a mommy. No, that's not what happens. And it's not just about what a daddy does inside a mommy. It's about connecting. It's about being loving. It's about two people wanting to be together. It's not just a physical act, right? So you're teaching them your values about sexuality in this conversation. And then the last thing I wanted to tell you was, yes, so I'm going to give you the book recommendations. I'm just going to hold them up quickly, but I'm going to put links in the YouTube for this talk, for these books. So there's The Care and Keeping of You, right? A great American Girl book. There's 1 and 2. It's such a bad connection. Sorry. Good Pictures, Bad Pictures. This you're going to read as a parent. So that you know how to talk about pornography with your kids. You don't have to read it to your kids. Read it yourself and then base your conversation off of that. Amazing You. This is teaching your kids basic body awareness, like what their private parts are, how they look, showing them, you know, like the sperm and the egg. It's just a really like friendly, simple book. I'm gonna put the links up, and then Let's Stay Safe also. It was a great book just about safety, body safety, awareness, taking care of your body. I'm going to put all the links in, and there's also a book for boys. I'm going to put the link for the book for boys also. It's called The Boy's Body Book by Kelly Dunham. But there's a lot of books out there. But I'll put links for all of those into the description of the video. So again, I just want to reiterate, like, I want you guys to be thinking about having these discussions. And for those of you that think that maybe they're like not appropriate, I want you to think about that risk to their safety and the fact that just because you're in a sheltered community doesn't mean that everybody is sheltered. And it's like a little naive to think that your kid is never going to hear anything or that they're not going to notice. And I've heard that a lot also. Oh, my kid doesn't notice anything. He's so oblivious. Because they're not telling you that they notice doesn't mean that they don't notice. They do notice. So keep that in mind and give your kids a little credit. You know, I keep hearing people tell me also, oh, they're so immature, and if I tell them, they're going to tell other people and they're going to blab all over the school. That's one reason, it's important to start this very young, because then it's just a part of their vocabulary and it's nothing exciting to tell. It's just normal. They don't run around screaming no's, right? So let this be something that you always talk about with them, but also give your kids some credit, right? With maturity, with information, comes maturity, right? With knowledge comes a sense of responsibility. So if you're giving them knowledge, they might at first react like, ooh, this is weird, and like this, I don't know about this, or I don't want to hear it. That's okay. It doesn't mean you're doing anything wrong. Just like keep going, you know? Empower your kids with knowledge and with awareness, and with the ability to know that they can come and talk to you about difficult, sensitive things. You don't want them going somewhere else and getting information somewhere else and being vulnerable in different situations. So if you have any other questions, let me know. I'm going to save this now and I'm going to put it on YouTube. So this is the follow-up, and I'm going to put the links for the books underneath. But I did, again, just want to address those follow-up issues. Let's keep having a conversation. I'm so excited about all the positive feedback I'm getting. I haven't heard a single negative thing. Like, this is a conversation people have been dying to have, and clearly from the 4,000 views on my YouTube video, I see that people are really wanting to know how to do this, why they should do it. It's so important. So I'm so glad that that this is happening. So please be in touch with me, guys, and we'll keep having this discussion. Thanks.